All right, in the chat, I see yes, super. So we can start. Thank you very much for your confirmation. I will keep an eye on the chat as well. So now we are, first of all, of course, happy birthday to the Institute of Industry Management. I'm extremely happy to be part of this wonderful event today. I saw you had, and you're still having an amazing program with lots of lectures all the day. So I hope that my topic will be interesting enough for you. It's very interesting for me. It's one of my most favorite topics. It's about personal branding, how to brand ourselves, how to brand our career, how to brand ourselves as professionals, so that we make sure that social media and everything that we do digitally is helping our career, is helping our networking, and in general, everything that we do online. So personal branding, this will be the topics for the next 2 sessions of 40 minutes. We will have a small break in between. It will be 10 minutes. So 80 minutes together, we will speak about personal branding. It will be very practical. So what I recommend to you is that you take a piece of paper and a pen so you can write down some notes. I have some practical tasks for you, but as well as some good examples that you can see for your personal branding. So a couple of words about myself. I will be very, very short here. I'm working currently in one campaign, one company which is about digital, about IT. We have many, many divisions in different digital industries. My part is in a division called Unify, which works with collaboration tools. So what we practically do is to promote remote working and remote working tools that people around the world can use. Maybe some of you, we have seen each other already on the Renepa Summer Campus. And also last year I taught digital marketing in your amazing institute. So I met some of the great students there. So I'm very, very excited to be together again. So one more note before we start, before we jump into the digital space and we start speaking about how digital branding can transform our career, how can it can leverage our contacts, so we make sure that our personal branding works for us. So just please eliminate all distractions. Put your mobile phone aside. You may need it, but just for one exercise. But in general, please, let's all try to keep attention on these minutes that we are together, so that we make sure that we build this online community in today's day. And we have a very active chat. You can ask me questions anytime about personal branding and in marketing in general, or anything that might be interesting for you. So let's do that together. This is the content for today. Lots of topics that I want to cover, around 14 topics. You can see I want to make this course for you as much detailed as possible. So I make sure that when we finish, you have at least 1 or 2 things that you can take from this presentation that you can start using from tomorrow. So you can see we will speak about digital footprint, brand strategies, how to validate your niche, interesting stuff about audience, how to identify your audience, the people you're speaking to when we have your personal branding, some professional tips that you can grab and start using from tomorrow, how to make your personal website. It's extremely important. Your personal blog, this is your personal space on the digital world. Some free tools that you can use and you can install on your mobile devices. Of course, content examples and some trends that I have seen over the past year, content trends in terms of personal branding, digital communication. So I hope that all this palette of topics will make it really a complete course for you today, and we will enjoy all together with this digital branding course. So I will restart sharing because I'm not sure I selected the sound. Right, I can do it now. So Pay attention to this video. We are going to start with it. It's very, very short. It's just an intro that I did for my personal branding. Also be aware that there will be some voice. So make sure that you have your headphones ready for that. Right? Doesn't start, some technical issues. All right. So I'll play it for you this after the presentation. So practically here, what I wanted to show you is my intro that I use for my personal branding. So no worries, I will show this to you, not a problem at all. I have it on my PC. So personal branding. Now we start here. Every time when I do presentation, I normally go and see what are the latest trends when I speak about personal branding. So this is one of the most recent presentations that I have found on Google. So some stuff that are maybe not so popular or very popular to you, how to build your personal brand. First of all, of course, be active on social media, create original content, advocate for your company, meaning that you can be proudly speaking on behalf of your company. This is advocacy marketing. It's very popular right now. You to represent the values of your company, to showing the culture of your company, your homeworking ethics, and all these stuff that are built thanks to your company, and engage with your network. Perhaps all these are not very surprising, so I'm sure that you know all of these, but that's why we will now deep dive into the topic of digital branding. So what is digital branding? What is personal branding, and how we can start understanding more about personal branding? This is a definition that I found on the web, and basically saying this is how you promote yourself in your career to others. And very often this is about social media. How do you promote yourself to others on social media in the digital space? Of course, personal branding is not only a digital thing. It can be anywhere in the space. It can be in media. It can be in print media, TV. So it doesn't matter. It's there, believe it or not, you already have your personal branding. So here in this course, in these slides, we are going to try to start thinking more strategically about our personal branding and how you can start building your strategy around your personal branding. But there is one more thing. There is one definition about reputation. What is the slight difference here between branding and reputation? So another definition here about reputation is more about what you are doing and how people perceive that. So what I'm trying to tell you here, no matter what we do with your personal branding, we may make it very, very glamorous. You may be presented as a very big expert on social media and the digital space. But the most important thing is what you do, what you deliver as quality to your customers, to the stakeholders you work with. So it's the most important thing actually. And here we will not learn how to be successful from tomorrow. It's really what you do in real life, in business life, what your business ethics are. But here we will mostly learn how to make the work that you do more visible, how to make your professional career more visible. But keep in mind about reputation, and that at the end is what you do. So very quickly here about the boomerang effect, something that is interesting to say and that I have seen in my experience. The more you speak about something, about topic, in my case, I'm a professional in marketing. So the more I speak about marketing, the bigger chances I have to attract people who are interested in this topic. And this doesn't work for one day or two. You have to do this for maybe 2-3 years to be speaking about a specific topic, to be very precise, to find your niche. We're going to speak about niche in the next slides. But to keep speaking about this topic and be sure that maybe slowly, but confidently, you will start getting more and more opportunities around the topic that you're interested in. So in this case, this might be marketing or something else, depending on what you study and where you want to develop. 6 degrees of separation is another interesting theory. I will just say a sentence here. It's from the 70s, saying that if I know someone and he knows another person, and we have 6 steps like this, I can reach out to any person around the world. So it's as powerful as this, but you can see how dramatically this changed in the recent years. It's not 6 degrees of separation, it's maybe 1 or 2 degrees of separation if we have social media, if we find the right contacts. And I will teach you how exactly, when you find these contacts, how exactly you can reach out to them to make sure that you have bigger chances this person to respond to you, to be recognized. So we will go much more in detail about your personal branding communication. Very important thing. Don't think what you should do when thinking about your personal branding. If you ask me, okay, but I don't know what to do. So maybe think this way, not what you should do, but what you want to be doing. So find your passion. It's probably the step number 1, identifying your passion. And based on this, we will start building your personal branding. So what do you want to do? What is your true passion? And start building on that. So very quickly, an exercise for you. I said there will be a couple of exercises for you. This course is for all of us. It's not just me speaking, it's we interacting. I will also keep an eye on the chat, of course. It's here. So the first exercise for you. Let me try to change this slide, right? So what is your digital footprint? I'm sure some of you have been learning in marketing and you know this by heart. You know how digital footprint works. But sometimes we forget to do it. Perhaps we need to check our digital footprint on every 2-3 months because social media in the digital space is changing so quick. So what I want you to do now is to grab your phones, but just this time, grab your phones. Go on Yandex, Google, or Bing, depending on what search engine you prefer, and type your 2 names. Type your 2 names in quotes. So maybe you know why, but when you put your 2 names in quotes, it will start looking for this defined result. Otherwise, it would start looking firstly for your first name and then for your surname. So put them together in quotes. You can see here on the right on the screen how I put this in my native Bulgarian language, Etьен Янев, and it gives me all the results. And you can see my first result is my personal blog. It's the space that I control. It's under my control. After that are the videos, and so on and so on. After that are some other media appearances, blogs that I have written. So you can see how moderated is this space for me. These 2 sections that you see have been completely under my control, because for the blog, I can build the content, and for the videos, it's again, thanks to media and thanks to my efforts to go and speak on this media. So if you want, you can write in the chat if you are happy with what you see or not. But I will give you 7 steps to follow in case that you're not happy with your presence, with your digital footprint, in case you want to change anything there, and I will give you 7 quick steps. So of course, first one is to search for your name in quotes. Search the first 4 pages, because normally people don't go any further. They just check the first 4 pages. So your responsibility when speaking about digital branding, personal branding, is to check the first 4 pages. Check and see what are the results. See if you have any red flags, meaning if you have any embarrassing photos, any complaints, anything that you don't want to be there. Make sure that you identify this content, and of course delete or edit what you can once you identify this content. You can either go to these profiles and delete them, or you can ask the administrators to delete them, and fingers crossed they really do that. Tighten your privacy settings. So for example, on Facebook, you can tighten your privacy settings. You can make your profile private so that Google will not index or Yandex or Bing, they will not index every piece of content that you publish on your timeline. So again, very important. This gives you another opportunity to control your content. Bury the bad stuff. Control the first page. Of course, the first page is the most important. But imagine that you have some red flags, some embarrassing stuff that you don't want to be there, some old photos that you don't want to see, or you don't want your HR people to see in future. So what you can do, what do I mean by bury the bad stuff? You can start building quality content, and the quality content will go on first page. And you will push this bad stuff maybe on the second, the third, the fourth, and so on pages, and you make them more or not so visible. So that's very important for you. Normally, walks work effectively, personal website, videos, you can try all these to bury the bad stuff. Invest in your social media profile. Of course, try to update all your social media profiles with up-to-date photos, information, biography, and so on. I will give you one more or two exercises that will help you build your biography. And create quality content consistently. That's very important, and that's the basis of everything that we are going to speak today. Just build quality content. Right, I see that there is something in the chat. My personal page is the third result. I have only the info of ship with my name. Okay, that's not very good. But in the first case, if it's the third, surprised to see some pages. Okay, that's very interesting. So if your personal page is on the third result, that's not bad at all. Actually, it means that it's on the first page. But keep trying to build content, keep creating content, blogs with your name, especially containing your name. Be consistent. For example, with my personal blog, I use my domain name. As my domain name, I use my two names, etyenyanef.com. It's also helping me to index my blog on the first result. Okay, surprised to see some pages. Yeah, I was also very surprised to see some pages when I was doing this for myself. Right. Some more exercises for you. I hope that so far the information is interesting for you. So some more interesting exercises that together we can start working on. So let me see why this slide is not changing. Right. Okay. And we jump into the presentation. Right. So 3 exercises I'm going to give you here. First one. Imagine a successful brand, a brand that you know. You will all agree with me that all successful brands, they represent different values. Different values. I will give you some examples later. So, for example, honesty, loyalty, reliability, efficiency, and so on. I don't know if you are watching one of the most popular influencers when it comes to personal branding. His name is Gary Vee. I will speak about Gary Vee. I have a slide especially about Gary Vee. All his content is about honesty, confidence. So every time you see his content, you can truly see and imagine these 3 values. So when building your personal brand, then even you can write down on your paper now, what are the 3 values for my personal brand? What do I want to represent? As simple as that. And now, please pay attention to this this exercise, and I want you to really start thinking about it, and please share some ideas with me in the chat. So this is actually the basis of your personal brand. What is your unique selling point? How you will stand out in the crowd, differentiate with so big competition in the market. If you want to work with marketing or any other specialty, probably there are millions of people who want to do exactly the same. So now in this lecture, it's very interesting and it will be very helpful for you if you start thinking about your unique selling point, how you can build that. So answer 3 questions. What do you offer? To whom do you offer your product or service? What is your target audience? And what is the added value? What makes you stand out? And it's very helpful if you think this way, to be not a generalist, but a specialist. People like to hire specialists. It's much easier for you to find your niche if you are a specialist. So again, the 3 questions: what, whom, and added value. Just very quickly, as a side note, if you want to learn what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, and you can make this as a separate exercise, but now keep thinking about what, who, and added value. But in case you ask yourself, I don't know what is my uniqueness as a specialist. I don't know what makes me stand out. So there are a couple of things that you can do. You can go to Amazon reviews and see other products, for example. If you're selling a product, you can see what can make your product stand out. What are the weaknesses of the other products? You can go to portals like Fiverr or Upwork, where many freelancers around the world are listed, and you can see what is their unique selling point. You can find yourself in some of these descriptions there. You may want to combine some of these descriptions, or you may just see how the professionals there present themselves. Try to find other opinion of other competitors, or go to Google Map reviews where you can read some more reviews. So these are 4 ways that you can find out what makes you unique, what makes you stand out, in case that you're not sure. I will give you 2 quick examples, actually 3. So this is Amy Porterfield. She is a marketing specialist. You can see her description here. I teach business owners, educators. So what I do, to whom, to business owners. And what is the added value? Creating online training courses and using online marketing strategies to sell with ease. So you can see this is a great example of what we have been talking about here. Another example, Martin Neumeyer. He is an author of books about branding, some great books. Here is his mission. It's slightly different. It's not following exactly the same structure, because he starts with the added value. You want to be a brand genius. You want to build businesses, outmaneuver competitors, even disturb industries, and so on. And at the end, he puts what he is doing. I'm here to help. So it's a slightly different structure, but the same logic behind. And here is another example. I hope that you can see it on your screen. I'm a marketing practitioner in B2B with great knowledge in digital ads. So this is the exercise that I want you to do now. Just write 1 sentence that truly describes your unique selling point. What are you doing? What is your target audience? And what is your unique, what makes you stand out? So here, marketing practitioner, the audience is business to business. And what makes me stand out? I'm good in digital ads. Or it can be, I'm good in creating design, or I'm good in presenting. It doesn't matter. It's really up to you. Can we see 1 or 2 examples here? I will wait for a minute. You have the time now to give me your answers. I'm also watching on YouTube, and your colleagues, what they're writing on the chat. So again, what you're doing, who is your target audience, and what is your added value? Just 1 sentence. You can even fake it, don't worry, it's just for the sake of the exercise. Okay. I'm waiting 30 seconds more before we move on, because we have lots of interesting things to cover, lots of exercises to cover, because it's really, really a complete marketing course. So final call for this sentence: what you do, to whom, and what is your added value? What is your unique selling point? If there are no suggestions, I will just move on with the next slides, and maybe you can share with me at the end of the presentation. Okay, I don't see any answers popping up, but I will continue keeping an eye on the presentation. So you have the floor whenever you want to share your ideas. Right, so once you have your unique selling point, this is a very interesting, you will ask me how you can use this unique selling point, what you can do with your unique selling point. Very simply, you can grab this sentence and put on social media. So this is my LinkedIn presentation. I know that you don't use LinkedIn, but don't worry, you can do this with VK, Facebook, Instagram. Of course, keep it in contextual, keeping it shorter, based on the specifics of the social media channels. But basically, you can do the same. You can take your unique selling point and you can present it on every social media channel. So one more thing that you can do as an exercise for your personal branding is to start by defining your objectives. Why you want to use social media? Why do you want personal branding? What do you want to do with your personal branding, right? So this is actually the letter A in personal branding. Why do you really want it? Or do you need social media? Do you need personal branding? Do I need to manage my personal branding? So these are simple questions that you need to answer. And what is my main goal? What is my main objective to have a personal brand? So I'm sure you have seen that. It's very common, very popular, this formula about SMART objectives. So keep it specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So this way you will be able to measure your success with your digital brand and your personal branding, and be able to improve your personal brand on a daily basis. And I will give you some more examples. What are SMART objectives when we speak about personal branding? Here are some examples from students. Objectives. I would like to change my career path from sales to business analytics in the next 2 years. It's very specific, it's measurable, it's time-bound. I want to get contact with 10 choreographers till summer 2020. Again, measurable, time-bound. So this is what you can do if you grab a pen and paper. You can write down, what is my objective? Why do I need a personal brand, and how I'm going to use social media to help my objectives? So pretty much that's it about objectives here. One interesting thing, I asked you to create your unique selling point and your objective, right? But you can keep your brand multidimensional. It's not necessary just to have just one straightforward direction, for example, marketing. In my case, I have also other interests. For example, I'm also a TV commentator and also a gamer. I like gaming, I like electronic sports. So what I do, I always try to combine the three fields of interest that I have. For example, when I go on TV and I do football commentating, I'm always represented as a marketing expert. They always say, Etьen Янев, the marketing expert, is here. And they always ask me questions which are related to business. For example, how the crisis might affect the football industry, or how money, what is the role of the big money in football today. So questions like this. But you need to be very clear. So your personal brand can have 2-3 directions. I recommend not more than 3, because otherwise it will become too general and it will not be considered as a specialist. And the photo on the right, if you can take a look now, this is me commentating gaming event. Again, the same logic behind. I'm always represented as a marketing expert. as someone, but also someone who has very big experience in gaming, and that's why here I was selected to commentate this event. So a bit more about thinking strategically about your personal brand, how to think more strategically about your personal brand, how to find your niche. You know what is your objective, you know what is your unique selling point, but what is my niche? I want to go niche, I want to become a specialist, don't want to be a generalist. So how to validate your niche? Again, start with what you love. Start with what you really love. I love doing marketing. I love playing games. Doesn't matter. It's really up to you. Make a list of the things that you love doing. Validate your niche idea. Is it popular? Is it profitable? You can, again, do the same exercise. Go on Amazon. You can see if there are any ads on Google. If there are any ads on Google advertising the same business, it may mean that your niche is maybe profitable. You can check that. Is there any content related to your niche? Are there any videos? And are there any groups on social media, for example, on Facebook, with more than 5,000 members? It means that there are many, many people who are interested in this field. So this might be a way to validate your niche. And don't be afraid to compete with other people who want to work in the same field. You can always try to stand out, always get back to your objective and to your unique selling point and really make the difference. One interesting theory is from Kevin Kelly in his book, and he was saying that all you need is 1,000 true fans. 1,000 true fans. So imagine if you have 1,000 true fans. For example, in my case, I'm not an influencer. I'm not an influencer at all. I actually have around 1,000 followers in every social media, but I use personal branding to help my career. I use personal branding to help me find the right contacts and find the right career opportunities. So what Kevin Kelly is saying is that all you need is 1,000 true fans. And imagine if these true fans, you convert them to $100, for example, a year, or you can transfer that into rubles. This will make a really comfortable living. And you can imagine that. So it's all about getting your first really true fans, your first 1,000 fans. So let me see how we are with timing. We have 5 minutes more before the first break. And now we're going to speak about content writing. At the end, it's all about creating content on social media. So content writing. We have lots of content, so I'll make it a bit quicker right now. So what are the topics we will be speaking about? If you know your objective, for example, if your objective is to become a marketing expert, perhaps your content strategy will be to write about this topic, about marketing, to write the blogs, videos, and so on. Is it demonstrating your expertise? Once you find your type of content and your objective, is the content that you're writing up demonstrating really your expertise? So that's also very important. What content formats? For example, today people say that video is king, right? Video is extremely, extremely effective. So you can start creating videos for your social media content. For example, last year I have been producing only video content on my Instagram channel, and I have attracted a couple of interesting event organizers. They contacted me and said, okay, we see that you're interested in marketing, your content is interesting, so can you please speak up at our event? So this is a way to attract, and if we refer to the boomerang effect and you find your content format, you can really make your strategy more effective. And always ask yourself, is the content that you're publishing corresponding to your objectives? If your objective is really to, for example, find 10 job opportunities in the next 3 months, for example, is your content good enough to attract future potential employers. Really ask yourself, does it correspond to your objectives? So 3 types of content that you can find online and that are really good for your personal branding. The first one is educational. Teach your audience something. For example, now, am I doing digital branding? Perhaps I'm doing digital branding. We are getting to know each other more, and I'm trying to share some useful content with you. So you can do this in the form of video, blog. It's really up to you. Make it fun. Make people smile. Make them happier. So this is the second type of effective content on social media. And the third type of effective content is the inspirational content. Building confidence, building trust. I told you about Gary Vee. All he speaks about is confidence. He's inspiring. So you can start building your inspiring content based on the strategies that we have been talking about. So these are the 3 types of effective content: educational, fun, and inspirational. You may ask me, okay, but what type of content should I write about? It really depends on your objective. If your objective is to show you as an expert, perhaps you may want to go with educational and inspirational. And also fun, if you can create some fun memes and fun content that will really relate to your expertise. This is interesting thing. I see that we have 2 more minutes before the break, so please hold on before you go for a cup of coffee or water. So this is interesting type of content. It has been shared by one of my closest friends. So in his page, he's interested in gaming. In his page, he's doing this type of competitions all the time. He is comparing games. In general, comparison as a tactic works very effectively on social media. Here, the question in Bulgarian, you may recognize some of these letters, but this is, of course, Bulgarian. Which is the best game? Let's formulate the answer like that. Which is the best game? And every week he's putting in competition 2 different games, and people are voting. And just because there is gamification, meaning people are voting and you can see the number of votes, just because you are asking people to participate in this content, and it's interesting content because most of his followership is actually gamers. So this really resonates very well with this audience. And he told me he had like 200% more engagement. So it was a very, very effective content for his social media. So you can always also try this type of content for your channels. Here, very quick, how to build the perfect post. Make it visual, put hashtags, give value. It's extremely important that you give value in your question, in your content. Post questions, use emojis. There is one cool website, emojipedia.com, where you can copy and paste all the emojis available right now, and post videos and stories. But we will speak a bit more about content. So I see that now is the time, exactly the time for your break. We make a 10-minute break, so you can grab a cup of coffee, a cup of water, and please come back here after 10 minutes. Let's regroup again and continue, because I have a lot more to share with you. I hope it's interesting for you. So see you in 10 minutes. All right, here we go again. Hello, hello everyone. Again, hope you're energized. Maybe had a cup of coffee because we are continuing with our presentation about personal branding. I hope that so far it's interesting for you. It's lots of theory, lots of practice, exercise. Actually, the time is not that enough for us, but I'm sure we will touch base some interesting topics around personal branding. So I will start sharing again my screen. I wanted to show you one video at the very beginning. Let's see if it's going to work now. Let me see if I am. All right, so I'm sharing sound, so be ready for that. Let's see if it's gonna work now. Right, so this is the intro that I'm using for my personal branding and the content that I normally do. I will show you where and how you can create such a cool intro for your personal brand. And we continue the topic about content. If you're really interested about personal branding and if you want to get some more inspiration, I recommend that you start following this guy. His name is Gary V. He's from Belarus, now living in the United States. He is dealing with social media, digital marketing. He has millions of followers, and all his strategy is based around personal branding, around sharing content, confident about confidence, honesty, business development, and success. So he's a very cool guy, and you can learn a lot from him. Here in this presentation, you see two very nice links where you can find very detailed information about his content strategy. But basically, he has a team who is working behind the scenes, and he is posting tens of, even hundreds of types of content daily. But here is a tip from Gary V, something that is very interesting about his content. If you see the graphic on the right-hand side. So what he is saying, Gary V, when you're thinking about your personal branding and you are wondering, what content should I start posting from tomorrow? So here is the advice from Gary V. Try to find a long-form piece of content first. What does he mean? For example, you may want to decide that this long form might be your blog, or you might do an online show, or you might do a podcast. So firstly, identify this type of content, start sharing on a regular basis, let's say every week, every month. It's really up to you and your strategy and availability, of course. After that, as a second step, build contextual short form of content. What does Gary V mean? So once, for example, you build your podcast and you see that people are resonating very much with the podcast, with one of the sentences that you mentioned during this podcast. For example, you have said that a strategy that is very successful, and you see that in the comments below the podcast, people are actually speaking very much about this. So try to extract this sentence from the podcast and build a social media card, build social media content. Take this sentence and put on social media. So this way you build your contextual short form of content, which is really based on the long form of content. And as a third step, you can, of course, distribute this content on all social media channels. And if you look at the screen on the left-hand side with the picture of Gary V, here is a video that he has shared. And in the comments, he has noticed that many people are commenting his performance in a selected minute. They're exactly extracting some sentences from his speech. So he's taking all these sentences and he's creating then social media content. This is what you can also do. So rules in content writing. Again, from Gary V, very interesting. Document, don't create is the first advice from Gary V when you're creating your personal brand. So what does he mean? Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to show your life in an extremely positive way all the time. You know, everyone that is sharing on social media wants to be very successful, very glamorous, but in reality, it's not always like this. So try, rather than showing your successful life, try to show all the efforts that you spend on becoming successful. So for example, share some behind the scenes photos from your workshop, some behind the scenes photos from your webinar. So show the world how you're working on your dreams, but not always how you are successful and stuff like that. So act as a media, again, an advice from Gary Vee. Here he does mean that you need to give value. Don't sell with every message that you share on social media. Rather than selling, you can start sharing value. So these two tips from Gary Vee are very, very effective. Of course, choose 2 or 3 main channels on social media. This is my personal recommendation. So my channels, for example, are Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Keep it contextual to the platform, meaning that always keep in mind what are the specifics, where you need to post video. For example, the obvious example is you post videos on YouTube. You might also want to post video, for example, on Facebook. So this is also very important. Keep it visual. Absolutely, the content now should be visual. So that's extremely, extremely important. And I would say quality over quantity. Always try to create quality content for your personal brand. Here is an interesting term that you may use in your social media profiles, in your strategy. Here is the long description. What is newsjacking? Newsjacking is actually a type of strategy. So for example, you may see that on TV, there are some people speaking, for example, some politicians, let's say, and what they say, it becomes viral, or it doesn't need to be connected with politicians. Anything that becomes viral, you take this viral news and you create something that is really customized to your objectives. So for example, you do a meme that is speaking from one side about these viral news that are viral right now. On the other side, they are speaking about you. So you can do this by using memes, for example, or any type of content, video. So by having this newsjacking strategy, you always try to be up to date and you always try to be on top of the wave, using all the viral news to create your social media content. So this is another exercise for you, something that I will quickly show to you. And here I'm sure that you can very easily participate. I see that some people are interacting in the chat. Let me see if I can open the chat now. I will show you an image just for 3 seconds. I will show you one picture just for 3 seconds. What I want you to do is to tell me what are the 3 words, the 3 associations that come to mind when you see this picture. So showing you this picture for 3 seconds, and please tell me what are the first 3 words that pop up on your mind. So I'm showing now the picture. 1, 2, 3, and I stop. So tell me if you saw the picture, and what are the associations that come to mind? What did you see on the picture? Freedom, saying Polina Grishina. Peace, colorful spirit, exactly. So wonderful answers. Career, saying Nastya. Happiness, saying Alexandra. Hippie, 80s. Summer, trip. All these are correct. Youth, exactly, again, Polina. All these are absolutely correct. And this is Volkswagen. This is the story behind Volkswagen. These are the 3 values that their story represents. So storytelling, I will not go further into details about storytelling, but when speaking about your personal branding, always keep in mind, what is the story that you are sharing with the audience? What is the story behind your personal branding? So there are different ways to really present your personal story. So for example, my personal story. When I was younger, I started playing video games. I'm a gamer. I wanted to become a professional football player, but I was not that good. So I started playing video games. I found out that I'm very good in playing football video games. And when I was younger, I became a national champion in football games. I represented Bulgaria 2 times on world competitions. And I really loved video games. What I started doing in Bulgaria, I started organizing events about electronic sports, playing games professionally. This way, I built lots of social skills. I started organizing events. I started writing up articles, managing communities, building websites. All this I learned thanks to video games. For example, today's topic is about pixels. I really love the website that you have built about this event. So games and what they gave me. Thanks to games, I found my true passion about commentating football. Thanks to games, I found my true passion about marketing. So this is how games helped me. And this is a slightly different angle to my story. So whenever I go and speak about my brand, about my story, I always put it in the perspective of games, of gaming, of technologies. So try to think about your personal story. Here is another tip from Simon Sinek, and you can find again his book. He's explaining how most of the successful brands speak about their stories. Most of the brands in general, let's say over 90% of the brands, when they speak about their story, they start with what they are doing, how they are doing this, and why they're doing this in their story. So we have this direction in most cases. So what Simon Sinek is saying actually that we should go the other way around. We should start with the why. We should give the reasons why. If you remember at the beginning, I gave you this exercise to build your objectives. I asked you to start with what you're doing, but you can always shift the order, make it different. For example, I gave you the example of one influencer who started with the why, and at the end he said what he is doing. So this, according to Simon Sinek, is the effective way of presenting your story. This is another strategy about storytelling. It's called rags to riches, and it means that it's very effective now when we speak about personal branding. And if you even take my story as a comparison, how you start from one point and you're not so successful, and you reach to another point where you are successful, and your story is somewhere in between. Your story is how you become from someone who's not successful to someone who is successful. This is the strategy about storytelling. This is my story, how I represent my story on social media. This is my personal website, etyenyanev.com, and this is how I represent my story. I have a page which is about Etyen, about me, the About Me section. And here I share this story, everything that I just told you. So I started with games, then I started commentating events, found my passion about marketing. This is an EPA summer campus, teaching, and at the end, becoming a football commentator on TV, very much thanks to games. Next point. I see that we don't have so much time, but I will try to cover what might be the most interesting for you. So we need to find the audience. Once we know who is the target, what are the objectives, what is the story, what are the values, what content we will be sharing, we need to find the right audience. So one of the ways to find audience on social media is to use hashtags. You can do this on Facebook because this is LinkedIn. For example, you can do this on Facebook and on Twitter. I think also on VK. So if you go on the search bar and if you type a specific hashtag, the platform will give you all the relevant information, all the latest information, blog posts that is using this hashtag. So this way I can see who are the people who are speaking about marketing every minute, every second. I go on LinkedIn, I type #marketing, I see who are the people speaking about me, about my brand, about my field of interest. So you can easily do that. You can start interacting with these pages, for example. You can start liking, commenting, leaving a comment under the publications, sharing, and so on. In general, start interacting and engaging with these people. So this way you will start building your followership, your fans, your first 1,000 fans. You can, of course, use the audience insights. So on the left-hand side, this is Facebook business page. So there you can see at what time your audience is active the most. So you can see an interesting trend. Around 6 o'clock, my audience is not active at all. It's interesting. I need to observe why. And on the right-hand side, this is Instagram. It shows me at what time of the day, at what day of the week, my content has performed better. So use these insights to identify your audience. Other tactics to identify audience. Surveys. Send surveys to your friends, and you can you can make some giveaway, give them some small gifts in return. Schedule discovery calls. So if you want to learn more about your potential audience, find someone who is already interested, or it might be a friend, and just start asking, what is interesting to you? What should be my content? What do you think about target audience? Play a detective on social media, ask questions on Facebook groups, create question posts in your social media, dig deep into comments, and also try to see what people are saying about competitors, reviews. So this is another way to really understand more about audience. I will give you this quick example of building behavior, building specific behavior with your audience. I have a friend, Dido, in Sofia in Bulgaria, who has been posting for, I think, 3 years, every Monday morning, a positive piece of content on social media. Very straightforward. Every morning, every Monday morning, he was sharing some positive thoughts. For example, I'm now taking a cup of coffee, watching the beautiful weather, preparing for work, I met a good friend, and stuff like that. It sounds simple, but he has been doing this for 3 years, and he has been building habits. Can you imagine what has happened when he didn't post this once or twice? Yes, all the people started commenting on his timeline. Dido, what is happening? Where are you? Are you okay? Why you're not sharing content? Because he has built some expectations. So what I'm saying here, if you're consistent, you can start building some expectations. People will expect your content. And this is what Dido did with his content. About planning, when you're planning your social media content, it's very important that you make it again visible. How to make it visible? You can use this type of table. So for example, I'm using my mobile phone. I have notes on my mobile phone. And for example, I write down what topics I will be speaking about in the next 3 months. So for example, this month I will write up a blog about, let's say, Facebook ads. On the next month, I will speak about gamification, stuff like that. So I'll make a calendar. If you don't want to use your notes on your phone, you can always create such a table like the one displayed here, and you can make it more visible. You can write down the topics that you will speak about and just make it visible with timeline, so you make sure you know you have a clear planning for your social media content. By the way, if you have any questions during my speech,